Welcome to the world of Dion, one of 3 planets that weave around each other through space, created by the goddess Dion from her own 3 hearts. A world of both great wealth and great poverty, Dion is populated with relatively young civilizations and nomadic tribes across 3 regions: the Western continents, the Middle continent, and the Eastern continent. The year is 1697 of the Accordance era, and we find ourselves in the balmy and wet climate of the first rain song season in the great capital city of Lena Mirna, called Tuzankin. The final of many New Year celebrations has sent the city into a raucous frenzy as final preparations for the Festival of Flowers commence. Guards in copper cloaks barricade main thoroughfares and post signage indicating detours around parade routes. Merchant and performer caravans pour through the city gates, and locals hang garlands of paper flowers from their windows. This holiday marks when the petals fall from the lapa fruit trees, and the lapa begins to grow as the first and favorite spring fruit from the orchards surrounding Tuzankin. The breeze is carrying the sweet scents of incense, citrus, and lapa blossoms. The mid-morning sun isn't quite hot enough to fully evaporate the morning dew from the cobblestones, as the door to the Snoring Cat Inn opens onto the busy street. 2 figures, one wearing a perfectly on-theme petal pink gown embroidered with orange and peach floral motifs, the other pulling a dark hood over his silken white hair, step out and take a look at the preparations being readied on the street.
Melanie.
Could you please describe your character?
Yes, so my character is Lady Seraphina Blackthorn, and she has very long hair. You can see she has dark roots, but her hair is dyed blonde, and she has a very long, long pink gown, and she is accompanied by her traveling companion, Eidos.
As you stand on the paved walkway in front of the Snoring Cat's entrance, an open-topped cart pulled by 2 muscular mules rattles down the road past you. Sitting atop the cart are an Aarakocra woman and an Air Genasi woman, bickering loudly about who was supposed to set the alarm bell the night before. Across the road, 2 gnomes wearing stilts stop to tie advertising signage on every 3rd light pole. The darkly cloaked drow man standing with you yawns and shields his eyes from the sun. JP, could you please describe your character?
Yeah, absolutely. Today I'm playing Eidos Nawat. He's a half-drow elf sorcerer. He's a noble-born son of a provincial leader with more money than personality. He's a very pretty man with white hair pulled back so that all may bask in the lines of his face. He's also a very petty man who's prone to moodiness. His robes are perfectly ironed and prepared. You would think for this festival, but you might get if you know him better, you know it's every day. He's a snooty guy.
Thank you. The 2 of you set off toward the city center, hoping to find the people you've been looking for in the crowd of the festival. Tuzankin's roads weave above, below, and between each other, all supported by these massive pillars, allowing foot and pack animal traffic and carriages to move quickly through the capital city in this web of winding roads above and below each other. And there are entrances in the tall buildings that grow taller as you walk toward the city center. And there's entrances on the 3rd floor, on the 8th floor, on the 10th floor. This city is known for its spiraling architecture, high above the ground. The crowd is steadily growing as people are gathering along the streets in anticipation of the parade. There are children in windows overhead throwing flower petals into the air and laughing at all the costumed festival goers. And you find a vantage point on the steps in front of a leather workshop. Lounging just a few steps higher than you, in the shadow of the doorway, is a long-legged human man, a sheathed sword unhooked from its harness and laid on the step beside him. Dane, would you like to tell us about your character?
Sure. My character's name is Killian. He's a young man in his mid-20s. Probably at this point he has a kind of hood up and is just kind of leaning back against the wall. He's got a lean, kind of muscular frame. He's clad in leather armor. He stands about 6 foot tall, and when you get a good look at him, the one main feature that you'll notice is his one right eye bears kind of a scar, seemingly from claws raking across his face, but what really catches your eye is, in fact, his eye that has a dark kind of blackness to it, but speckled with like almost something akin to like starlight, and little stars just sprinkled throughout his one dark eye. And once again, he's just kind of hanging out, just taking a close look at everything going on.
Cheers and music begin growing around the bend, echoing off the sandstone buildings. The first horses and mounted knights carrying the sky blue and gold Lena Myrna heraldry come into view, followed by copper-cloaked city guards carrying the city flag of Tuzankin. A bardic troupe is playing their ornate silvered horns and drums with an upbeat song, and along with them there are acrobats spinning and cartwheeling down the streets, stopping occasionally to hand out flowers. A halfling gymnast with golden curls pulled back from his head with a beaded headband lands a very sick backflip right in front of a uniquely large armored figure standing in front of you, kind of on the side of the road. Royal, could you please describe your character?
I am Zata Stormbane. He is a Linolin cleric of war. He is an impressive figure. He's going to be standing about 6'10". He has a large black mane, but he has also some silver feature or tannish features on it. Golden eyes. He is definitely a presence to be known. He has golden armor with some what looks like to be paint all along it, and also some etches into it. You would see him to be also decorated with like tokens and trophies that he has collected over throughout the years of his traveling. He probably seems to be a little confused just because there are many people around, and he is definitely not used to that, being from the plains in the middle of nowhere in his pride.
Now we're going to jump across the road, where sleep-darkened eyes watch the parade with boyish wonder. He is peeking out from behind just a brick house of a half-orcish woman. Bobby, could you please tell us about who you're playing?
Yes, you may call him Marroway, and he is a relatively short satyr with long white hair with flowers and other little gems and trinkets and pretty rocks that he finds adorning his hair and his horns. He wears patchwork clothing, and he's got beautiful purple eyes that are surrounded by beautiful purple circles. And he, even by look, you can tell that he's quite airheaded and easily excitable, especially by festivals and parades and such.
Wonderful. The green woman, dressed in well-worn leather and fur, nudges her little satyr companion and urges him to relax and enjoy the spectacle of the parade. Robin, would you like to tell us a bit about your character, last but not least?
So my character is Bula. She is a big woman. She stands at 6'5". She's got curly, short hair that stays out of her way, often braided back in multiple braids. She has very olive deep skin, very, very earth-toned. She wears leather armor and fur, whatever she can get her hands on. She is good at fighting. Very good at fighting. Not necessarily what she likes to jump into first of all, but she does know her strengths. She also finds a strange pull to her little satyr friend that she has found. And she is also excited about the festival because festivals mean food vendors of all sorts, and often really good mead.
Awesome, thank you. As you're all in your parade spots observing, you notice the crowd growing a little bit quieter, and exclamations of excitement and wonder start to erupt from down the street. And you lean out over the crowd and spot what appears to be just a huge iron cage on wheels being pulled down the street by massive draft horses. Then another one pulls around the bend, and another. An entire traveling zoo is coming down the street with caged enclosures spanning nearly the entire width of the street to where people have to really press back against the buildings to let them pass. Carnival barkers ride horses between each cage, announcing the names of the animals on display. Never before seen on the Middle Continent, behold the mighty dire wolf! And this giant gray and black wolf and is prowling back and forth across its cage. See the largest crab ever caught, found on an island far off in the lamenting ocean. And there's just absolutely a massive crab clicking these claws, and it sounds like wood snapping, the size of these massive claws clicking. 4 other cages all go by with a variety of fantastical beasts. And some of them you recognize, some of them appear to be a little bit of a falsity, maybe with a horse with elk antlers sewn on. So lots of different kinds of animals go rumbling by. Behind them, there's another musician troupe that comes walking by, this time a moderately dressed kobold clan, loudly playing what can be assumed to be music by those who are a little bit hard of hearing. Behind them, women in these wide hoop skirts that are like 4 people wide are carrying these 20-foot tall poles, at the tops of which there are these mounted dress forms, like from a tailor. And those are decorated and dressed in these artistically crafted gowns and robes made entirely of live plants. So all this ivy is hanging off this dress, and there's one that's just sewn delicate little flower petals made into a suit. All these different pieces of artwork. And the tailors occasionally stop and shake the pole at the bottom, and it rains flower petals down on the crowd to much applause. Finally, as the parade is winding down, intricately enameled carriages begin to pull past, and smiling nobles and city business owners wave from the curtained windows, tossing some coppers occasionally into the cheering crowd. The final carriage is a precarious 2-storied construction on 6 wheels, and it's carrying who you all recognize. That's the city's High Counselor, Ulpart Tuzankin. Counselor Ulpart is like a graying human man in the dusk of his life, and he's accompanied by his middle-aged son, his daughter-in-law, and 7 young grandchildren, all in this carriage, waving from the stacked windows. They are just like the image of benevolent leadership and family legacy in this city. And the crowd is cheering as the parade ends, and the citizenry follow behind that final carriage and some guards toward the courtyard of Tuzankin Hall. The city square has been lined with food and drink tents, much to Bula's excitement as you begin to smell the roasted meats and the fruit jams being prepared. And there's merchant stalls all over the place and a few music stages scattered about this large inner city square. The crowd kind of disperses to fill the courtyard and the streets surrounding City Hall and the home of the High Counselor. And you're able to take in the festivities together. Who would like to do a little exploration?
Yeah. I mean, Zata's being his first time probably in a very populated town. Will probably just be kind of looking around, very much in wonder, and then also kind of everybody's really small compared to him, because he's probably towering over quite a few people. And he's not even the tallest in his pride, so he's probably just trying to watch his step, especially between for halflings and gnomes, because they're real small. But he would love to be going around, especially trying to find somewhere to drink, and definitely take a look at some of the more unique animals he's never seen before.
Yeah, awesome. So you're looking around and you see the nearest stall to you is this Lapa fruit tasting stall, where you can go and sample some of the first fruits that have already bloomed for the season, trying all the different varieties that they've been growing, and they've got some that are candied, and you stand there, and this large half-orc woman comes busting up right next to you, followed by a little guy. Just one of those little guys that you're ooh, sorry, I gotta make sure I don't elbow that one in the face. And the candied Lapa fruit are just, you can smell the sugar coming off of them and the sweet acid of the fruit.
What is this? You said Lapa fruit? Never had anything like this before where I'm from. Excuse me, ma'am. Have you ever had these before? Do you know if they're any good? They smell good. Is it something you can eat?
If it smells good, I'm gonna try to eat it. So,
Technically, you can eat anything once.
he's not wrong.
The purveyor of the little cart, this old farmer of one of the orchards, says, "Oh yes, that is true. That is true. You can eat anything once, I suppose, unless it's too big and not crunchable. But these lapa fruit are good for eating. Best for wine, though." And he pulls out a cask of wine and says, "Lapa fruit makes the sweetest wine on the Middle Continent, guaranteed."
Well, I can always go for a drink. You too, would you... I'm not from around here. Would you like to partake in some drink with me?
I'm not much into those sweet wines. My friend here would probably like it a lot, though.
I would probably like it if it was like in a glass of water, maybe. I get a little loopy when I drink sometimes, so I try to stay away from it. They tell me that I get a little crazy.
You get a little crazy even when you don't drink.
Yeah. But that's why we stay away from the things that make it a bit more obnoxious.
Well, I am always good for a nice hard drink. If you want, we can go find something a little stronger. I am always down for a nice, good drink. I heard Dwarven Ale is really good. I have yet to try it. The person I traveled with would talk about it all the time.
Dwarven Ale is good.
Oh, okay. We can grab some of the candy, and I could buy a drink for you, and some watered down ale. Do you drink ale? I'm sorry. Is there something else you would like? I'm not exactly sure what you are.
And purveyor says,
okay.
Regardless of what he is, we have a juice. We have a non-alcoholic version, if that's what you prefer, my dear.
That would be delicious.
He pours you guys some samples. He pours 2 alcoholic samples and 1 NA sample for you of the drink, and pushes the candy bowl your way and says, "Please enjoy."
Thank you.
Bula's gonna sample some fruit. It's all right. Fruit's okay, but I think we should go find some meat and some meat.
Now that is the kind of talk I like.
We kind of saunter off with our new fuzzy friend here to go find something better to eat, something with a little more substance to it.
Some literally with some more meat to it.
Some more meat to it.
Definitely easy enough done. You follow your noses to where you can smell like roasted lamb on a spit, being sliced really thin and rolled up into these like flatbreads that are kind of key to the Middle Continent, and sprinkled with some herbs and sauces, and it just looks delicious. And the guy says, "Just 3 cuppers today, my dears."
As I said, I would get this for you. Thank you for showing me around. I'm not from here. I don't really understand a lot of things work. Do things like these animals come to you? Do you fight them? Are they here for an arena to fight, to show off like who's the strongest, or what is the purpose of
fighting?
displaying?
Is not always the answer.
Oh, yes, it is not always the answer, but it is a solution.
It's a last solution. Bula's been like kind of making friends with this fellow, and now she's kind of like, "Are you one of those?" kind of things.
Where I'm from, fighting is a thing of everyday need. Like, you must fight to survive. We usually just fight monsters, animals, things like that. We within our community, we do not fight. If it comes to blows, it's usually done within the elder watches over, and then whoever wins the fight is right, because you are the strongest. If you project your strength, then you are obviously correct in whatever argument goes on.
It was a lot the same in the holler where I'm from. I left.
Oh.
She starts to kind of walk away from him a little bit.
Where I'm from, there was not a whole lot of fighting at all, until there was. And then there was a lot of fighting, and now I'm not there anymore, so I don't prefer to be around the fighting.
Where are you from? I'm from the south.
Well, it's not really somewhere you can get to from a directional standpoint. You kind of have to know a person, you have to know the way in. Have you ever heard of the Feywild?
I've never heard of such a thing. Is that like the spirit realm?
Somewhat. It's like a land that's full of dreams and beauty and funness and enjoyment until it's not, and then it's a place of nightmare.
So when the bad spirits come.
Pretty much.
I mean, we know of spirits and of nature. I've never heard of anything called the spirit or the Fey realm?
Feywild, yes.
Feywild. I've never heard of such a thing before. And that's where you come from?
Originally, yes. But it's not somewhere I would really suggest you go to. I mean, it's very extreme there. It's either super, super fun and amazing, or it's really, really bad. Whereas here, it's just moderately bad all the time.
Moderately. You're not wrong. I can definitely see that. It can be bad. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sorry that there were such horrible times for you there. Was it due to like monsters or like beasts?
Could say that, but it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, what's in the past is in the past, and I'm here now, so try to live in the present.
That is a very good outlook. I agree with that. You can't do anything about your past, but learn from it and move on.
Bula reaches
Something
over.
like that.
Bula reaches over. She's already finished her meat, and she sees that these two are just yakking, and she just kind of takes theirs and eats theirs too.
As Bula takes his, I just kind of slide my meat to her anyway. I don't know if there's like a little leaf garnish or something. I just take that to munch on it.
Yeah. Definitely like chewing on a little bit of oregano. And it's tasty. It's fresh.
That is quite amazing. A place that you can't get to unless you know the place. That is fantastic. And I have seen orcs before. Where I live, we would have interactions with them. So I was naturally... I'm sorry, but you are the most familiar thing I know around here. We had dealings with orcs and stuff in the South Continents. So you are basically the most familiar thing I've seen. Everything else is very, very small.
I have that sensation in most places as well.
Me too.
How do you not trip on the small things?
Sometimes I do.
Okay.
And you just say, oops.
Oops. Got it.
I've gotten a lot of oopses from her.
Okay.
She just reaches out and kind of pats Marroway on the head.
I will... Next time I see one, I will say, oops. Yes. Fantastic. Would you like to go see some of the beasts? Like I said, I like to... I'm a bit of a hunter. I like to hunt to prove how strong I am to my
I
god.
think these beasts are just for looking, though.
Just
not
for looking, no
For
fighting.
hunting.
Oh,
No,
well,
for looking.
well, why would you keep them in cages then?
I don't know, honestly.
Oh, okay. I don't know either.
But if you kill them here in this festival, there's going to be lots of children crying, and nobody wants that.
Right, you would want to have an arena. You wouldn't want innocent people to be hurt. I
And it doesn't
understand.
seem like they're just necessarily aggressive. So, I mean, is there any sport in it?
To fight? Most beasts, monsters and beasts will attack if needed. I tend to try to just fight things that are mostly aggressive to people, or things that are captured for sport. For our people, we usually hunt things that are becoming aggressive, take on, are going outside of what they're supposed to do, or they're killing too many, like the grass eaters and stuff like that. If they kill too much, then there won't be enough for everybody else. So we usually take out those kinds of things, or monstrosities. Sometimes we get some of those.
Why don't you just use magic to create more grass?
Not many people where I'm from can use magic, just shamans and some priests. That's the type of magic that we have, but we believe in trying to preserve the natural order of things.
As you're having this conversation, you hear a carnival barker. The race begins in 3 minutes. If you want to race, the race begins in 3 minutes at the flower maze.
Oh my god, Bula, did you hear that? It's at the flower maze. We can go look at all the little flowers.
Yeah,
What is
we
a
can go
flower
look at the
maze?
flowers. I'm not running though. I just had 2 lamb's legs and a whole saucer of sausages, and I do see some beef that way. So if we go around, maybe I can
Oh,
get
why-
some of that on the way to the flowers.
Why don't we stock up on a bunch of food for you, and then we enter into this race through the maze, but then we just walk through it and look at all the pretty flowers.
Is
I
this like
knew
a
I
feat
liked you.
Is this like a feat of strength?
Well, yes, of course it is.
Oh,
I mean, is there any greater strength than looking at flowers? I know that fills me with all kinds of power. I feel really strong.
I can agree that there is something beautiful. We don't have a lot of flowers where I'm from, but there are a few, and they are very beautiful. I very much agree. But it's a race in the flowers? Like, is...
Well, yes, you have to have someone judging it, and who better than a flower?
Nature is the best type of judge. You are correct.
It normally doesn't pick favorites.
It does not.
Bula's gonna start kind of sauntering off towards that beef. She's smelling it, and she really wants to get over there. And she kind of corrals Marroway with her as she goes.
Yeah,
she doesn't
Zata
want
just kind of
losing
like,
in the crowd.
please. I'm willing to do a strength. I will join the race if there is one.
Well, how about this? To really show your strength, what would really help, these mazes are normally really tall, so there might be some flowers that I can't reach. Maybe I could get on both of your shoulders, and that way you could lift me and I could meet all of the flowers.
If that is something you would like to do.
I mean, I couldn't lift myself up. So, I mean, it would show that you're stronger than me. And then he, like, lifts up his arm and it's, like, this big.
Yeah, he'll lift up, and I mean, it's covered in armor, but it's definitely pretty strong. Yeah, I can definitely do that if that is what's required. I can definitely do that for you.
I definitely think it will be required.
Yes, of course.
As you're all
come
walking
on,
and
come
talking,
Melanie.
you see this motley band of 3 absolute weirdos walk past you, and you immediately, your memory jogs about why you're here, and you got a little bit caught up in the beautiful dresses and the beauty of it all at this festival is very very keen to you. But you pass these 3, and you have a moment of I should speak to them probably.
Yeah,
And
sure. So
they stop at
Seraphina.
where the big green one gets a whole like, bone steak and is like, I actually asked for 2.
Seraphina turns to Eidos and says, Eidos, are those not the people that we're looking for?
I don't know who we're looking for. I haven't been listening. I'll be honest with you. But it's your people, your quest. So I'll follow you. All I ask is that there are drinks where we're going. So if they look like they're going to a bar, then I would love to follow.
Yes. Well, that one has plenty of food, so I'm sure she needs a drink. So let's go. And Seraphina will walk up to this very large lady. Excuse me.
Bula like turns
Where-
around and like accidentally steps on your foot. Oops.
Oh, that's quite all right. And she prestidigitations her foot immediately.
Cleanest boots in the city.
Yeah. Could you direct us to where we might be able to find some drinks and food? I see you've already found some already.
I mean, here at a festival, best thing about festivals, doesn't matter which way you go, There's food and there's drink.
Well, you seem to have found the best. Can you help us?
Well, this kind of meat I got over there, and this kind of meat I got back there. This kind of meat was over yonder that way, and then... Oh, that's already gone. I had another kind of meat. Nah, not so great. But if you wanted to know, it was back that way.
Well, Bula, where's our manners? We should take them, because then you can resupply.
Okay. I think I like that idea, but not the one that was only so-so.
Yeah, we can skip that one.
But you're suspicious that it was like ground squirrel.
Gamey.
Alright, so she just kind of takes off. Whether they follow her or not, that's on them. She heard restock food and she went.
At this point, you've got like hot meat in bags, like in like canvas sacks. And you're like, nah, I've still got room.
I have this wine that we got. It's pretty sweet. We got not too long ago. If you want to drink, I'm looking for something called dwarven ale, though.
We haven't come across the Dwarven Ale quite yet. We were actually on our way to go through a flower maze and look at all the flowers and pretend that we're racing so that they'll let us in. But I guess what we could do is race to get this food and then race over there. If you want to join us, there'll be lots of pretty flowers.
It's a feat of strength.
Yes.
The first food.
First food.
Yes. And a drink.
And a drink.
And a drink.
You do. You find another round of meat and another round of lapa fruit. This time it's like a lapa fruit, like apple ale kind of thing. a beer made out of the fruit. And it's pretty bitter, but it's tasty. It'll pass, and it's definitely alcoholic. Marroway is still sipping on his lapa juice out of a mug that's just a little bit too big for his little hands. And you make your way over to the flower maze, which is, by all counts, a hedge maze, but made out of this great flowering, like, it's almost like not a leaf to be seen, just colorful petals. This flower bush. It's really beautiful. And you see the entrance of the maze. You see it has 3 different entrances for 3 entrants to do the race, and the carnival barker is calling, line up, if you want to race, you win a cask of the Lapa Ale. Incredible prize for an incredible feat. And there's 2 spots open for anybody to race if you'd like to, or you can watch.
Eidos is definitely going to find a seat nearby and enjoy his wine while he watches whatever this is going to be.
You're like,
Seraphina gathers up all of her skirts and sits by him.
I think I'm going to do the feat of strength, Bula. Bula, correct?
Correct.
As I heard the small one call you that a couple of times. I am Zata, Zata Stormmane.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to take part in the event?
Well, there's only 2 spots open, and I know that my little goat friend really wants to see the flowers, so she turns around and just, like, scoops him up on her back and says, we're one person.
See?
The carnival barker says, indeed, the great centaur orc. Incredible. Line up, folks, to see a feat of strength.
I would like to take part in the feat of strength, please.
I'm in all that armor that will slow you down, but you are welcome to line up and join. And he motions and it opens up a rope for you all to go stand in your 3 entrances. And he yells, on your marks, racers! Get set! Begin! And he, like, casts a little spell. It casts essentially dancing lights above each of your heads so that the crowd can track your progress from above the maze. And you all rush into the maze. Go ahead, Robin and Zata, Bula and Zata, go ahead and roll for athletics or dexterity. See how fast you can move through this maze.
I can roll my new dice. Yay. First dice.
Yes.
Alright, let's go. Oh. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That was a nat 20.
Oh,
25.
Wait, you gotta do the
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
Good
sorry.
hands.
that 20.
Hands. Nat 20.
First roll of the game too.
Let's roll a game.
Good
Mine
start.
Right.
Mine
Incredible.
altogether was a 14.
14 and a nat 20 plus what was your bonus?
5,
Zata?
so that's 25.
35 total. Awesome. So you take off like your boots. This armor is not holding you back. You are made to run. You are the lion in this moment running through the savannah, just like being back home through the grasslands. Bula, you're not, you hear him. He's moving a little far ahead of you, but it's a maze. It's kind of hard to track how far you are in comparison to someone else. But you can hear him moving every now and then when your paths kind of cross. Go ahead and roll an investigation to see how well you actually navigate the maze itself and don't get caught in too many dead ends.
Oh, this is a bad one.
So that was a nat 1, and I have a negative 1.
Mine's not better. It's a,
We're
it's a
just
9.
We're just looking at the flowers. We're not actually trying to do anything.
100%. Bula
I just
starts off running and then remembers, like, oh, wait a sec, we're here for something else. And, like, you put Marroway onto your shoulders and you pull out a chunk of your roast beef that you've been eating. You're eating Marroway's just, oh, look at this one. Hello, flowers. How's it doing? And Zata, you with your 9, you go down a couple of wrong turns, and occasionally you go down the same wrong turn twice. You're like, oh, I think I know that flower. I know I've been here. Shit. And you take off running the other direction. And roll, both of you, if you're still running, another athletics to finish the race.
Does sauntering count?
Sure.
We are definitely sauntering. Altogether, I have a 7.
7.
Altogether 17.
17, that'll do it. Zata, you come running around a corner and you see the end of the maze ahead and you take off and your like feet are like tearing the ground out from under you. You're moving so fast and so strong and you come rushing out to check the other entrances and no one else has made it back yet. And the carnival barker yells, "We have a winner! The lion in the armor!" And he raises your hand up and pulls out a whole cask of Lapa fruit ale and puts it at your feet and says, "Your prize, good sir. What is your name?"
Zata Stormmane.
Zata Stormmane, the fastest feet in the city, and raises your hand up again to the crowd's cheers. And Bula, you and Marroway come shuffling out a few minutes after, and then finally this like halfling woman who had also joined the race comes like, "That was not fun." Comes panting out. "I didn't like that."
While this is happening, I'll lean over to Seraphina and say, "Are you sure these people match the description of the people you're looking for? I do hope you say no."
Yes. Let me check my notes one more time. We are looking for the Gilded Lion, the Gentle Satyr, the Satyr's Guardian, and the Divine Eye.
Well, aside from the Divine Eye, it does seem like these 3 fit the description, unfortunately. What do you do now? Do you talk to them? Do you tell them that you're looking for them? That seems a little toward.
Yes, we can't lose track of them. But I don't think we should make it obvious that we are tracking them.
I've been to these kinds of parties. They're always a bore.
Well, turn on your charm. We can't lose them. And she grabs Eidos and she runs towards all of them where they're celebrating Zata's victory.
Wonderful.
Marroway just has like 4 different like flower crowns hanging from different parts that he's made as we've gone through the maze.
Yes. He's obviously the real winner here. And he's still up on your shoulders, just like playing with his flowers, just like fluffing them up and letting them fall and
Puts one in my hair and it like droops down over my nose and
you're like, I think I might be allergic, actually. Spring hay fever is getting me this year, man.
she just like sneezes the ugliest sneeze you've ever seen in your life.
Like the meat tendon is like between your teeth and blows out.
There's spray and spittle everywhere and half a flower.
You're like, oh,
Seraphina.
God,
Seraphina sees Bula sneezing and she pulls out a handkerchief and hands it to her.
Bula takes it and just like just douses it in snot and hands it back to her.
Before she takes it back, she prestidigitations handkerchief and grabs it.
Eidos will kind of walk up and slow clap as unsarcastically as he can, and he'd say, "A good show, indeed. I'm Eidos Nawad. This is my traveling companion, Seraphina. And we thought that you looked like an interesting type. We were wondering if you wanted to have a drink with us."
Are you paying?
Well, I look at the cast that what's his name? Zata. That Zata just won, and I say, I don't see any reason why anybody has to pay unless you plan on drinking this all yourself. Maybe we just need a quiet spot. I pick you up.
If you're looking for something stronger, I mean, you're welcome to it. This is just not very good for Bula and I. We're looking for dwarven ale.
As long as where we're going has wine.
Seraphina pats down her skirts and she's like, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I seem to have misplaced my purse."
That is unfortunate.
I'll tell you what. The first round is on me, and only the first round, because my finances haven't been in order since we arrived in town, and it's going through the system. I'm sure it'll pick back up soon, but I do have enough for one drink for all of us. What do you say?
Bula just kind of snorts and nods and says, "I got it. Let's go."
You all make your way. At this point, you're like, okay, we want somewhere that has ale, that has wine, that's better than this stuff that they're selling at the fair. So you go off a couple blocks away from the festival, and you find a well-traveled tavern. And it's busy, being close enough to the festival, but not so much that they can't handle it. There's a lot of people working inside. So they welcome you and come in. Take your seats. No outside drinks, please. You're going to have to pour those out there. And actually,
so he's like,
they're like, just don't open it. Just don't tap it. Just
Am I still on Bula's shoulders?
Are
I'm gonna just poke you on the head and be like, Bula, I don't think they gave me the unalcoholic because I have no memory of what just happened. But look at all these crowns.
Say, you had fun. There were flowers.
Well, that's all that matters.
So you make your way up to the bar to order your first round of drinks, and sitting directly next to you is the same long-legged human that you had shared a step with watching the parade.
I'll recognize him. I'll probably eyed him while we were sitting in the same stoop. And say, are you a citizen of this town?
Killian will just kind of shuffle in his seat a little bit and look over to the person talking to them and just say, "No, I just came into town maybe a day or so ago."
As did we. I was wondering if you had any recommendations around here.
Well, if you just got into town, then I know about as much as you do.
Well, cheers to ignorance, then. And I'll lean across to the bartender and order a wine and gesture to the rest.
The barkeep nods her head and goes under and starts pulling out wines and a couple of strong dwarven ales to serve the table, and says, what's the little one want?" Looking up at Marroway, up on Bula's shoulders.
I'm not little. Can't you see how tall I am right now?
You got a point about that, kid. What do you want to drink?
Do you have water?
Yeah, we got water.
I would love some water, and if you could just, any greenery that you have back there, just kind of throw it up in there, and that would be delicious.
Like a virgin mojito. Got it. Runs back and comes back.
I don't
with it.
know what that is, but it sounds like a good time.
They come back with a bunch of mint leaves kind of muddled up inside a glass of water and hands it to you.
It's a little spicy.
Oh, you. And you've all been served a round of drinks. Bula pulls out another turkey leg, a third turkey leg of the day, and starts snacking.
Absolutely. Nothing goes better with alcohol than meat.
The bartender brushes off.
Killian will look over to the person that just bought him a drink and say, well, thank you very much for the charity, but what's the occasion?
Well, new friends here just won a flower maze race, was it? It was quite cute. And, yeah, we're all a little parched outside. It's pretty warm. And thought we might come in here. Me and my friend Seraphina, and I'll nod to Seraphina across the bar here, we're looking for work. So it's not without a purpose that we're trying to make new friends. You see, we're a little low on funds and just trying to see if anybody has any leads, so to speak.
Well, I don't have any leads, but needless to say, I'm a little bit in the same boat. My voyage here has left me a little bit light of coin, so to speak.
Well, maybe we could join forces. You see, I'm not too strong, though I am skilled in other ways, and you seem quite strong yourself, if you don't mind me saying. What say we team up, maybe with these very tall individuals, including the short one?
And Killian will look over to like Zata and Bula, not knowing their names, but he'll look over to them and say, "Well, yes, I definitely spotted that one in the crowd. Stuck out quite a bit. You did, my fine feline friend."
I'm a Linolin.
Ah, my mistake. I apologize. I don't think I've really seen your kind around here, or ever in my life, to be honest.
We are from the very far south continent.
Ah, well, I guess you meet many folks here in the middle continents.
Yes, I've traveled quite a long way. Yes, and I did win the feat of strength. I am the best.
You are the best, indeed. That has been readily proven. By the way, my name is Eidos. I don't think we've met. I'll say to Zata.
Zata Stormane.
Pleasure. And this is my traveling companion, Seraphina.
Good to meet you, sir.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Um,
She'll hand out her hand, like, for him to kiss it.
You gotta get this like huge paw. This is huge, massive paw. It'll kind of like go like doing the same thing. He's like just trying to like reach out. He's like, I don't. What do you want?
Killian will just kind of grab his drink and like kind of point it to everyone and says, "You can call me Killian."
And you too, Madam Orc and goat friend.
Oh, you can call this one Marroway.
And I'm Bula, and I can tell you that if you're looking for coin, people always need protection.
And in a weird twist of ironic timing, people outside on the street, which has been pretty full of people wandering by with food and drinks and party favors and things, suddenly, like, it catches all of your attention that people are rushing away from the festival. Not quite in a panic, but, like, very confusedly, rushing away from the crowd, person by person.
Hearing
They must have all gone to that really bad meat place.
hearing the commotion, Killian will just kind of not say anything to the group, just kind of take off and like head outside to see what's going on.
Yeah, you look down the road, and people at this point it's been a couple moments, and people are screaming back in the square that you can now hear, and more people rush your direction past the tavern where you were just sitting, away from the festival grounds.
Killian will like kind of start basically directing traffic as he himself goes towards the sound of the commotion, or whatever the center of the commotion is.
Got it. What does everybody else do?
Bula, hearing the commotion, is gonna chug the rest of her drink real quick and follow him out the door.
Eidos will look at Seraphina and shrug and kind of point, asking if she wants to follow.
Yeah, we can't lose them.
I
Let's
suppose
go.
that's the only reason we're here, and I'll quickly drink my wine and head out as well.
As Bula's running, Marroway has like his shawl like fully extended, letting it like flap in the wind.
Zata just will have his cup. He'll just take it with him because he's not under. He just takes it, and then he'll just go outside.
You hear the bartender go, oh wait, you're not supposed to, okay.
And then he'll kind of look around, see that he's taller than everybody else, just try to like see what's going on.
You can see the corner of the city square that you had just left as you guys are rushing down the street, kind of pushing your way through the crowd gently. You see people are rushing specifically away from where the circus cage carriages all stopped. And you go rushing in that direction.
As we're rushing in, I'm going to cast guidance on Bula, just in case.
I remind me guidance.
Guidance is a plus 1d4
1d4, yes.
to
Ability checks.
ability checks.
Ability checks.
As like Killian's kind of pushing through first, he's gonna try his best to like ascertain what's going on. Like he'll run by someone that's trying to run by and like maybe just grab them very quickly and say, "What's going on? Why is everyone running?"
Yeah, you've grabbed this like half-elf woman, and she says, I don't know, these big bug things got out. The cage was open. I don't know, the bug things." And she takes off running again.
And
I hate bugs.
You and me
Lucky
both.
for us, you have a big boot.
Ah,
You guys finally, Killian, you're the first one to kind of break through the crowd, and everybody can go ahead and roll initiative as you see these two massive snail creatures. Instead of two eye stalks, they have multiple stalks coming out of their snail head with like these giant spiked barbs on the end.
I wish we had our little paddles to say nat 20.
Right? We got
it's
two.
one of these.
I did that! But then I'm like, oh, this is just initiative. It doesn't matter.
20?
Yeah, 20 is a 20.
20?
The 21.
21.
Good thing I'm actively mounted and can't move on my own.
Are you on my shoulders again?
Oh, I don't know. Am I? I thought I was.
I thought you
I
were
thought-
running behind me with your bat wings.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's what we'll go with. I thought I was on your shoulders doing my bat wings.
Well,
I don't know. That drink got me really hard and I blacked out a little bit.
All right, Eidos, what was your initiative?
5.
Okay, Bula?
11.
11. Zata?
13.
13. And Killian?
22.
22. Very nice.
With my bonus, it's a 21. If it matters.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Top of the order. You hopefully can all see the map and move your characters. Go ahead and test that out real fast. And spicy. Everybody's dancing
I'm
around.
good.
Where am I? There I am.
Oh, here, here. Nice. Okay. Looks good. You see to kind of your northwest area, but one of the cages has indeed been pulled open. There's a dead body of one of the carnival barkers laying near the cage, and one of two massive snail creatures has come oozing out of the cage. And at the top of the order, we have Killian. What do you do?
Killian's going to rush in, try to get close to these things. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, let's say 30. Is that within 10 feet right there? Should
Just
be.
about. Let me do a real quick measure. Yeah.
All right. So as he's running towards this snail, he immediately sees the downed carnival person on the ground, and in mid-sprint, he'll unclip the whip that's on his belt and just kind of swing it above his head and snap it into this giant snail.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack.
So that's going to be a 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
Great. And that's going to do it's going to do 6 points of slashing damage.
Very nice.
And then, because of how mobile Killian is, he'll also kind of almost like drawing this thing away, takes a couple steps back, and that'll be its turn. So the creature's movement is reduced by 10 because of the slasher feat.
Okay, awesome. At that moment, a city guard comes rushing up and yells out, "Oi, if you value your life, I suggest you run. Otherwise, let's fuck this guy up." And pulls out a crossbow and takes a shot.
I like this guy.
And that's a natural 20 for a 23. So we're gonna do our natural 20 damage. So I'm gonna do one full d6. And then roll a second d6. Alright, he does 11 points of damage on the same snail. And says, "Ha-ha! I like you too!" And Marroway, your turn.
Marroway is going to move up just a little bit. And from here, well, we're going to go just a little bit more, just kidding. From here, he's going to cast Bless. Bula, his new little cat friend, and his weird starry-eyed friend that's over there whipping it. Real good. So for that, everyone who got blessed is going to be getting an extra d4 on attack rolls or saving throws. And that's all I'm going to do.
Nice, nice. Put little icons on them so that you can all remember. Why did Bula just jump? Okay. Zata, your turn.
Alright, Zata, like, oh, we can kill these things. Fantastic. And we will go 5, 25, 30, 35, and then you'll see him pull out from underneath his armor a holy symbol, and with a flaming spear on it, and he'll point it towards the snail, and he will cast a guiding bolt. Can't get over there. So let's see what he gets. So he gets a d4. So that is going to be a 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right. I am going to roll 46. $13 points of damage.
Awesome.
Radiant damage. And then the next attack will have advantage.
The next attack from anybody, or just attack? Cool.
It's the next attack because it's shimmered in fiery light.
Awesome. Okay. It is the snail's turn. It is going to slowly slide closer, leaving behind just this absolutely vile, you can like smell it from where you are, snail trail behind it. And its shell begins like almost like the way jellyfish can or like octopus can like change their coloring. It starts to like do this like very like scintillating pattern that like weaves around its shell as it prepares itself for something. Bula, your turn.
All right. So it's come even closer to her. So, oh, I gotta get off of that. Okay. Yeah. 10, 15, 20. She gets to just go and get it right up in its face. It smells like her least favorite second cousin, and it is threatening all these people, including her goat friend and these new people that she hasn't quite made her mind up yet, but they don't look like they deserve to die in an ooze that smells like Egger. So, she's going to come up and get it in his face, and she's going to go ahead and pull out her axe. She is also going to rage because it smells like Egger. And she don't like it. All right. So that is a dirty 20 to hit.
Nice, that hits.
Okay. And then that is just going to be... It's just 4 damage.
Cool. Alrighty. Do you have multi-attack yet?
It's level 1. I'm lucky I got 1 hit.
That's true. Any bonus actions?
She's gonna step back. I mean, she's not usually offended because it was, let's see, it was only about 20 to get there. She's gonna step back just a little bit. She's not normally offended by smells, but it's pretty bad.
It's gonna go ahead and take its opportunity attack on you. It is gonna slam down one of its flail tentacles at you. Oof, that's only a 9 to hit though.
Nope.
Nothing. Alrighty. Seraphina, your turn.
So this is the first time Seraphina has seen combat, so she's feeling very tentative about casting her spell. So she's going to stay all the way back here, away from everything, but she will cast her Eldritch Blast.
Awesome.
Oh no, and it's an 8.
It does not hit. Sadly,
So
you're shaking. This thing is ugly. You don't even want to look at it, so you're just...
Yeah, this is her first time. She's still getting used to her arcane powers, and she's never seen combat before, so she's just freaked out by the whole thing.
Ew. All right. Eidos, you're going to step up and try and redeem both of you.
Yeah, this is also Eidos' first time in combat, but he will not be shown up by these strangers, and he will rush forward. And he's going to take his rod from behind his shoulder and kind of swirl it until it creates a 4-inch diameter. Oh, there it goes. 4-inch diameter of lightning, and I'm going to like kind of underhand volley it to this snail. Cast a chromatic orb.
Cool, go for it.
That's a 7.
Does not hit.
Hey.
You're both like pretty. You look at each other like,
I know.
a little embarrassing.
Bula just turns around to both of you and you miss.
Yes, I know. So I'm new to this.
The other snail comes... Oh, is that it for you? Sorry.
That is it for me.
Okay. The other snail comes sliming out of the cage, and immediately its shell, which has already kind of been gesticulating a little bit, kind of pops and cracks out this like incredibly bright, dazzling light in a 30-foot radius around it. And it's hard to like look at it. Like it was ugly before, but now you like literally like it burns your eyes to look at it. It's so bright. It's like staring at the sun. That's all it's gonna do. Killian, your turn.
All right. So the one in the back is shedding that bright light.
Yep. I'll go ahead and put a marker on it.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
one second. I was gonna say Seraphina technically had advantage because it was the first time she attacked. Or someone attacked the thing.
Did Bula have that one?
Oh, yeah.
Or who
That's
was
true.
it?
It was after you went. It was
Bula?
yeah.
Okay, so that's fine then. Never mind. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
Because she hit anyways.
I hit it. I mean, I guess I could have fished for that
Could've.
crit,
Could've.
but I think we're okay for now.
I almost forgot.
Great fish.
So, Bula, you probably see this being kind of close to Killian, but since being affected by Marroway's magic, you can kind of see his right eye almost like shimmering and like pulsing in a way. And Killian's going to kind of get around the side over here and take the whip out and hit this one again.
Okay.
And the last. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be 21 to hit.
That hits.
All right. And that's gonna be 5 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
It's once again slowed a little bit, and Killian just gonna take a couple steps back.
Oh, the snail is snailed.
And also, you guys are really far, but watching Seraphina and Eidos miss their attacks, the ultimate of eye rolls from Killian.
A sparkly eye roll. Mm.
And that's my turn.
Awesome.
Seraphina's feeling very self-conscious. She has a history of struggling with her arcane powers.
Aw. The guard comes running up with their spear. And is going to take a whack at the snail. Does not hit. Runs up with their spear, and the spear just kind of like glances off the shell. Marroway, your turn.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've done pretty much all I can do in combat. This is the joys of level 1 when everything is concentration.
So wonderful.
Everything. I guess what I'm going to do is just preemptively get ready for people to get their asses whooped. So I'm going to kind of make sure I'm still in range of all of our Mithrans. And then I'm going to look inside my little pocket and go boop, and there's going to be 10 good berries that show up.
Awesome.
And that's unfortunately all for me at the moment.
You booped. Zata, your turn.
Yeah, Zata, well, you'll see him. You notice, like, he's got a giant, like, sword on his back. It's kind of wrapped in just cloth. He just kind of unwraps it as he starts sprinting forward. He's like, don't worry. This is your first time. Remember, breathe, concentrate, focus. Stay behind me. And then he'll rush forward. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And as he comes to pull out his sword as he's going to slash, he says, by Erane's favor. And then his sword is going to ignite in fire. And then he's going to slash at it. For the context, he's casting Divine Favor. As a bonus action.
Awesome.
4. All the spell slots. But it doesn't matter because it's a natural 1, so he doesn't hit at all.
You look really cool. You yell out like your god's name in swinging it and whiff it. Like the snail just kind of like pops out of the way. Anything else from Zata?
Nope, that's his movement, his bonus action, and his action.
All right. It is the snail's turn again. It sees you take a swing at it, and it's coming around with a multi-attack with its flail tentacles. Does not hit, and it's a 17 hit.
17 will hit.
Yup.
16.
That's going to be 8 damage to Zata, bludgeoning. And its bonus action, it is going to do the same as the snail behind it, and its shell erupts in this bright light that is hard to see past.
For my concentration check on my divine favor, I rolled a 14, so I keep it.
Cool. Okay, Bula, your turn.
All right. So does the light coming out from these things, like, is it adding blinding or anything like that to
It's
us?
not blinding, but you do have disadvantage on attacks now.
Gross. Okay. She's gonna get all up in it. She saw it kind of hit the new fuzzy fella that she's met here, and she still can't decide how she feels about him, but she doesn't want him to get hit, so she is mad about it.
Too ragey.
Okay. So you said with disadvantage?
Yep.
So gross. The first one was so pretty.
You got blessed too.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So that's going to be altogether a 12.
12 does not hit, unfortunately.
Okay, what about guidance? Do I still have that?
No, that's only for ability check ability checks, and it's concentration. So when I bless you, that went away.
Okay, fair. Then she just, it's so bright that she's raging and her pupils are big, and so it's even worse, and she...
Yeah.
Ah!
Yep, and once again, it slimes out of the way. 2 more guards, luckily, are going to come rushing up to the scene. And they will both throw their spears to try and help you take out this beast. And both miss, and now don't have their spears. And the guard who was here is like, seriously, we need to get better training. This is awful. Seraphina, your turn.
Seraphina is feeling flushed with embarrassment from Killian's massive eye roll and all of her years of embarrassment from her lack of arcane powers is flooding back. So she's trying to take a deep breath and channeling Zata's words, and she's going to try to cast her Eldritch Blast one more time. It's a 13.
13 does not hit.
Oh my god.
You get so close to hitting it, sort of. But it is just blinding. You can't quite aim for it at all at this point.
She's close to tears.
That checks out. Eidos, what do you want to do?
Alright. Enough messing around. I'm gonna get a little bit closer. And I'm gonna double hand hold my rod here and aim it at this first snail, and a beam of crackling blue energy will lance out toward the creature. I'm casting Witch Bolts.
Cool, okay.
And it's going to, the idea is for it to be sustained for 1 minute, and I'll do this every single turn.
Awesome.
And does a 15 hit?
Just misses.
Oh my god. Okay.
So sorry.
We're not doing very good, everyone.
No, we're not. We have to hit
Seraphina
it,
looks
win
like
it. Yeah, I do not look at Seraphina. I know what her face looks like right now, and I don't want to see it.
All right, the second snail, you can't quite see exactly where it is, but it is going to come sliming out a little bit further and take a womp at the guard. I'm rolling real bad. I'm switching to physical. Oof. Beefs it twice. This first guard is obviously the coolest of the group. They're dodging and weaving as this thing just boom, boom on the ground next to it. Killian, you're up.
So he just looks back to Eidos and Seraphina, just and then he runs in. He'll go to the the other one. It's just kind of like just a big ball of like, light currently, right? With the two of them so close.
Mm-hmm.
Killian's just gonna kind of do his best to get in close. He'll try and attack this one that just approached. As he sees a giant thing of light get a little bit closer to him. So it's a disadvantage, right?
Yes.
Alright. Okay, so that's a high one on the first one. Oh, okay. Yeah, with the guidance, it's another 21 to hit.
That'll hit.
14 and 18 on the die. So, let's go. Ooh, so 7 points of slashing damage against this one. And how far is like the radius of light?
It's a 30-foot radius.
30 foot. Okay. So Killian moved up about 5 feet. He's gonna kind of take a maybe like 20 feet back. Just kind of, getting out of the blinding light after attacking it.
Cool.
And that'll be Killian's turn, and that one is slowed by 10 feet.
Awesome. Okay, the Cool Guard is gonna go ahead and try and redeem the name of the Copper Cloaks here. And picks up one of the thrown spears for another attack, lands it. And does another 6 damage to the one that's already taken quite a bit of heat. And it's looking pretty rough. The shell is at this point starting to kind of crack. It loses that blinding light. And so you can all kind of see it clearly now. Marroway, your turn.
Alright, so it doesn't look like we're having very much luck, even with my bless. So I think Marroway feels that he might need to take a bit more of an aggressive approach to this battle. So unfortunately, everyone's about to lose their bless. As Marroway kind of closes his eyes and like holds his hand out towards the snail creature, and you can all hear him cry out for help from Hearth. And before you see kind of appear underneath it, there's this little... It's almost like a little fiery bird, but you notice that each of the feathers look to be like an autumn leaf. And I'm going to need it to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, okay, the
15.
snail will make a dex save. Sure.
I know. They don't seem like they're moving very quick, so I was hoping this would work.
I'm gonna spoil it and tell you that's a -3. Let's see what we get. I rolled a 15, so that's a 12.
A 12? Perfect. Let's roll some damage.
Hey.
It's gonna be 5 fire damage.
5 fire damage. It doesn't quite kill it, but you get a good burn. Like the snail slime is like sizzling inside it.
Good job, Hearth.
It's like it's flailing around, quite literally in panic. What else from Marroway? Anything?
That's going to be it this time.
Wonderful, nicely done. Zata, your turn.
I was like, I could see. Although he could have seen last time, but he's just like, yeah, I light blinded me. Yeah, totally. So he's just gonna go for another slash. No bless this time. Sad face. But that's a 23 to hit.
23 hits.
All right, so this is going to be 2d6, 6, 11. And with Divine Favor, that's an additional 2, so that's 13 points of damage to this boy.
That'll do it. How do you want it to look?
So he's actually going to be running, so he's just going to do a slash, and he's going to carve it along the way as he's running around it. So he's going to be like going like carving it as 5, 10, 15, 20. So he's like
awesome.
Just pulling his sword across it. And then at the end, he's going to come to here, and he's going to pull out a sword and go for another attack with my War Priest ability. That when you use the attack action, you may make one additional attack as a bonus action. You can use this feature 3 times per long rest because of my wisdom modifier.
Fantastic. Go for it.
So I'm going to do it again.
You do have disadvantage on this attack, because this one is...
I do have disadvantage because he is blinding me. So that's a 13. And a 5. So that's going to be a 10.
Yeah, that is not a hit, unfortunately. But you are now right up in its face, ready to take it on. All right. Bula, your turn.
All right, so this one right in front of me is dead, right?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. So she's gonna run up to the next one while screaming something about nasty escargot. She's gonna pull out her favorite axe, and she is going to. So we have disadvantage on this one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fine. All right. So So I rolled a 7. So with plussing all my stuff, it would still miss. So she is actually feeling very lucky. So she is going to re-roll that.
Yeah. We love the luck feat.
All right. So that is a 13. So then let me add some stuff. Okay, so 19 to hit.
That hits.
Awesome. Oh, come on. Okay. So she hits it for a whole 5 points of damage.
5 points of damage.
5 points of damage with her big old axe. She's trying to slice off a piece of this thing.
Nice. You managed to like lop off half of one of the like flail stalks, and it just like splatters down to the ground. For something that can do so much damage, it's pretty squishy. Alrighty. The 2 guards are gonna try and rush up to reclaim their spears. 25, 30. He picks his up. Alright. See if they can land blows these times. Nothing. Trash. Seraphina, your turn.
Seraphina is close to tears. So she tries to gather herself. She'll just try one more Eldritch Blast.
Okay, good.
13. Yes.
Sadly, no. No.
She just walks away. She's done.
Go and sit on the cheese cart behind you. Facing away from everything. Oh god, this is just like when I was 12.
You know, she's crying in the corner by the cheese, eating it.
Eidos, your turn. You watch Seraphina just go and plop down on the cheese cart.
As much as Eidos wants to join her, he's gonna get a little bit closer. About right here. And he's gonna cast Lightning Lure. I think it went away again. It's gonna be a lash of lightning energy 15 feet away, and the target creature has to succeed on a strength saving throw of 13.
Okay. That was a 12.
Okay. It's going to be pull. Oh, I did not read all this. Oh, God.
That's okay. Read it out loud if you want to.
Okay.
Oh, the audience.
If it fails, then it's pulled up to 10 feet in a straight line toward you. It says up to 10 feet. Does that include 0?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you don't want to pull it, you don't have to pull it.
Cool. I'm just going to try to wrap it around one of its little tentacles and zap it for 1d8 lightning damage.
Cool. Go for it.
Oh, no, it has to be 5 feet ahead of me. Okay. I'm just going to get a little closer.
Okay.
And then I think that'll be legal.
Yeah, you're going to like pull it in closer?
Yeah, it has to be 5 feet within me, in front of me for.
Yeah, you can do that without really damaging anybody else.
Okay, cool. That's what I was afraid of. It's gonna take 4 whole damage.
4 whole damage. Nice. That's better than 0 damage.
It's a nice change of pace.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay. Guard's turn. Finally, one more guard comes running up a little bit late to the party, obviously. And he's gonna run in and try and land a spear attack as well.
If he takes this kill from us,
I will thank him eternally.
He's very distracted by this other he's a half orc, and he sees this other very hot half orc over there.
Oh,
He's
no.
like, whoa, and he totally misses.
Hubba hubba.
I like a big lady.
She just turns around and because she's raging, she just turns around and like screams and like spittle comes out of her mouth.
And he's like, that's my kind of woman.
She's not impressed with his missing.
He does not care. All right, the snail is going to take a whack. Who doesn't want to hit? I'm going to roll to decide because everybody's been taking swings at it. Oh, that's Eidos, unfortunately. You did the most damage most recently. It's going for you.
Alright. Please don't do more than 9.
Level 1.
It hit me for
1?
Oh.
I'll take
That
one.
it was a 9 to hit, the first one.
Oh, okay. No, 14.
Okay, and then it's a nat 20 for a 25 on the second hit.
That's gonna hit.
No.
Oh wait,
knocked
that's
out KO.
oh no.
oh my god,
My next
are you
character
going
is
to get one hit
taken.
murder?
That was a 1 on the damage die,
Oh,
but plus
Sweet,
the
sweet,
original 6 plus 3.
I'm out. I'm done.
Oh no.
Okay.
You down?
Oh.
What I get for being a jerk.
You are unconscious.
Oh my gosh.
Just like slow-mo falls with his hair going perfectly.
Oh, it
Yeah.
looks great. It looks great even when I'm done.
As you're going down, you're like, oh, my robes are going to get dirty. Killian, go ahead.
All right, so Killian will. So I would like to run in towards Eidos, and I want to kind of like grab his body and like kind of bring him away from the situation.
Okay.
So I use about like 10 feet of movement. So how much to kind of pull him? Is it just like half?
Yeah,
movement?
I'd say you're probably half movement, yeah. So you can use another.
Yeah, so I had 40, so I can drag him back about like 15 feet. So
Yep.
Oh, right next to Marroway. Perfect. So that's it. Does that count as like my action, like dragging him or grabbing him and dragging him?
No, I'll say since we have your movement, it'll still count as your movement.
Okay. Can I do like a medicine check to like kind of stabilize him, or do I need like a healer's kit or something like that?
You would need a healer's kit. Do you have anything like that?
I do not. So I just look over to Marroway and say, "You got this, right?"
I just hold up my bag of good berries and just kind of shake it. So to you, it just looks like I've got like they look like almost imagine like a really big blueberry, but with like a little white swirl going around it. And so he's just shaking these little treats at you.
Killian's just okay, and just kind of just starts heading back in, but doesn't get like too far after dragging Eidos away, and that'll be Killian's turn.
Cool. All right. The cool guard is gonna do some things.
I love that he's just the cool guard.
Yeah. Compared to the others, for sure. That hits. They've hit every time, I think. For 7 damage.
So proud of him.
They got their hair.
He looks really cool doing it. Marroway, your turn.
So where are we on action economy when it comes to popping a good berry in someone's mouth? Is that full action?
Oh, I almost want to say that's a bonus action. And like feeding
Completely
someone a
up
potion.
to you. I'm fine with whatever.
I'm in my home games, I like making feeding someone a potion, like as long as you're right here with them. That's a bonus action. I shouldn't have to take the majority.
Alright, then I'm going to take one of my cute little berries and I'm going to pop it in his mouth and I'm going to make like a boop noise as it goes into his mouth. And that'll give him 1 health.
1 health, alright.
They're not
So you
great
are
berries.
stabilized and prone, Eidos. And you have this delicious, weird, large berry in your mouth. And Marco is going poof at you.
You open your mouth, you open your eyes to Marroway, like looking over you with his finger like on your lips because he just slid this berry into your mouth.
Eidos would immediately gasp and try to jerk away and then realize what was happening and say, oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Very.
And then, as my action, we're going to have Hearth step to the side. We're going to recast Bonfire. So Hearth kind of poofs away in a nice little smoke cloud, and then another little explosion of this little leaf bird comes up, and I need another dexterity saving throw.
Okay,
15.
That was a 12.
Perfect! Oh, that's gonna be 8 fire damage. Maximum.
You said it was 8 fire damage?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
I just see your little
Look
goat
at
tail.
her, she's doing so good. She's so powerful.
So cute. Burn. Alright, Zata, your turn.
He's gonna step over so Bula can get out of the snail. It's very uncomfortable. He's going to go for an attack at disadvantage. Hooray! That's a 6, so that's gonna miss.
Oh, actually,
Supposed to
its
be
its light has now faded.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's light faded, it would still. The first one's a 6, so that's only an 11 to hit.
Okay, no hit.
So he will then again use his War Priest ability to attack with his bonus action.
Oh.
That's a 2, so that's a 7. That's not going to hit. So
Sadly, no.
level 1. All
You're
right.
trying, but at this point, you took a big hit from the first flail snail right on your head, and you're like still a little, oof, a little rocked.
Yeah.
Bula, you're up.
All right, so she watches Zata kind of go and miss twice, and she just kind of like pushes him out of the way. And she comes in with her big axe, and she is gonna need to feel real lucky on that one as well. That's where it's at. Okay, 16.
That hits.
Yes, it does. So she's gonna hit it with her big axe. So 13 to hit, or 13 points of damage.
13 points of damage. Cool. It's looking really rough at this point. You've taken off another one of its eye socket things.
She also finds a packet of salt from one of the food stalls and just
Sizzles a little bit.
take that, you've been assaulted.
Assaulted. Incredible. Okay, and the guards are going to take their turn. The two less awesome guards. A hit and a miss. Alright, they deal 7 points of damage to it, and it is down to like its last leg. It's also starting to panic and flail about uncomfortably. Seraphina, what do you want to do back on the cheese cart?
Yeah, as she was just like gorging her feelings in cheese, she does see Eidos get taken down, and so she screams in horror, and so she'll run over to check if he's okay. And then she'll scream in horror, and she will try to cast Sacred Flame. So I think for this one, the snail needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. That was only a 6.
Okay, so it takes 1d4 damage, which is 4.
How you want to do this?
Nice.
She redeemed herself.
So she just screams as loud as she can, and she casts like the sacred flame, and it just comes down from the sky, and it just like incinerates the snail.
Awesome. Yeah,
She's like,
snail.
her tears are falling down.
The snail was sizzling. Eidos, you just watched him sit up as you came running over to him. And you stand back up and look at this snail, and this crazy fire comes shooting down from the brightly lit sky. And the snail, by the time all of you like are able to look back, it is just like bubbling boiled goo on the ground, and its shell has shattered. into a bunch of pieces. And it is down in a big way.
Yeah. Eidos
Nice
will kind
to
of prop himself up on his elbows as he watches all this goes down, and then look up at Seraphina and say, "Well, thank you.
Did you see that?
That was
I
amazing.
did.
You actually hit him."
I did.
Your magic is quite impressive.
The cool guard turns around and goes, very nice.
Bula's just like next to the steaming pile of goo, and she like puts out a cinder in her hair, and she's just like, yeah, you! She's still just raging just a little bit.
It's going too hard.
Everything's on a level 10 right now.
The guards say, the cool one says, what the hell happened here? How did this happen? And starts looking around and realizes there's a dead body laying next to the open cart door. And they
Can I
go-
do a medicine check on it to see how he died?
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll a medicine check.
17.
17, I'll do it. It has this it looks like their head was bludgeoned in. Upon like closely inspecting at first, you're like, well, that makes sense. These things have like these big flail mauls on their eye sockets, but you look at like Zata, who took a pretty big like hit by it to the head, and his is like scraped, and obviously something the size of the snail flail hit him, and you compare it to the dead body on the ground, and it is very much a bludgeoning damage, but by something smaller. Definitely not by one of these flail snails. And it looks like that's about the only damage that they took. And with that, real fast, let's take a quick 5-minute break. All right. Ready to get back in?
I'm ready.
Let's
Ready.
head. Alrighty. Yeah, so Marroway, you have observed this body and of this like carnival barker kind of animal handler person laying dead on the ground, and you've come to the conclusion that this couldn't have happened with the flail snail based on the size of the head wound of the body.
Pardon me, Mr. Cool Guard.
Yep.
If you could take a look at this with me, I have something that might be of interest.
He comes over and he says, who's this then?
I don't know. This is one of the guys, I guess, who was working here maintaining the animals. But if you notice right here on the back of his head, his bonk square is not the same that if you notice all the other bonk squares are.
And he looks and he says, you've got a point there. This doesn't look like the same kind of wound that these animals would have caused. Interesting. And he looks up at the cage and he says, more interesting, the keys are in the cage. And the open cage door still has the large iron key in the lock. And he says, this is a little bit past my pay grade, I think, so I'm gonna, let's collect this body, guys, and take it back to the captain and see what they have to say. And the others, the less cool guards, come over, pretty ashamed of themselves. And kind of like post up with the body and get ready to carry it to somewhere more appropriate. And at that moment, the old, wizened high counselor of the city comes rushing through the square with a couple of his grandkids in tow, and says, what in bloody hell is happening in my city?
I don't know if you want me to answer that one.
The guard says, sir, and he bows and says, we came, I think, hopefully in time to save all the citizens except for this poor sod who brought these animals. It looks like potentially someone wanted to let these beasts out of the cage and succeeded, and these folks helped me clear it up, if you would say that. And the counselor says, what in bloody hell is happening here? This is insane. And they kind of step off to the side to discuss what had happened. And as the other guards kind of like get their orders to carry the body away. And you're left standing with a bunch of broken pieces of snail.
Are any of them still slightly shiny?
The like bright light and the coloration has settled. So they're not like actively lit. But like they're pretty colors even regardless. There's one that's like red with blue stripies, and the other one has I'm actually gonna look at it so I can tell you for sure.
I believe it was just like a silver shell.
Oh yeah, it's like blue and green and silver. Yes.
Oh, well. I guess I'm just gonna go up where we crush their shells and just take like little pieces
Little pieces of shell. All right.
of
You
each
can-
one of them. Because they're really pretty, and even if they can't be pretty in life, at least they can be pretty in death.
Yeah, you like flip them over, and they're like this really beautiful pearlescent, like the inside of like a clamshell, you know? It's a lot like that on the inside part of the shell. It's like very shiny pearlescence on the inside. And you're like, oh, this will make it such pretty jewelry. And you pocket a bunch. You can add that into your inventory. Snail shell.
Zata will probably grab one or two, just like a good chunk, because it's a trophy.
For trophy, yes. You both are able to do so.
Is there anything about like the snails, like let's say like slime, have any like kind of properties at all? Or if
Other
I
than
can...
smelling like my second cousin Edgar.
You could do a nature check, or you as Killian, being in your particular line of work, you could do like an arcana check.
Do nature or arcana? Let's. Both are not good. All right, I'll just do arcana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2.
Two. It's snail shell. It doesn't seem to be actively portraying magic right now.
Okay, I just kind of
Maybe if you tasted it, you
touch-
could tell.
Just touch it and like rub it in and smell it real close.
Yeah, it's slime. He like puts them in a little bottle and pocket it.
I was actually gonna do that. Can I take I have like a little alchemical like supply kit. I'm just gonna kind of like take out like the little glass like rod that's in there and kind of like scoop up some of like the slime or whatever snails give off.
Yeah, for sure.
Into like a metal beaker basically, and kind of like cork it.
Cool. Able to do so. Go ahead and add that to your inventory. It's a flail snail slime. And then you guys have flail snail shell pieces.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
I know, that's why it's slow. Okay, and people, the crowd at this point, you're still kind of investigating these beasts. The area's been kind of cleared out. The rest of the animal handlers have come back from their panicked run. They're checking on the other animals, and they're like, these cost so much money. How the hell did this happen? And they're kind of trying to clean up the snail goo and the remainder of shell on the ground. And the festival crowd comes slowly streaming back in once the all clear is sent to the group. And the festival kind of manages to resume as it was. And eventually you hear from the main stage, the High Counselor Olpart has taken the stage. He's joined by a hired mage to amplify his voice as he addresses the crowd. He says, "Esteemed citizens of our beloved Tuzankin, welcome to the Festival of Flowers!" And the crowd cheers, and he says, "Today we gather in celebration of a time-honored tradition that marks the wondrous transformation of our spring blossoms into the delicious lapa fruit. This festival is not just a testament to the bounty of our land, but also to the resilience and unity of our community. As we stand amidst the vibrant blooms and inhale their sweet fragrance, let us remember the hard work and dedication of our farmers, gardeners, and all who toil to bring forth this abundance." And he gives a round as like different farmers like step out of the crowd and wave. Their efforts are a reminder of the harmony between us and nature, a bond that we must cherish and protect. This year, the blossoms are more splendid than ever, a sign of prosperity and hope. The lapa fruit that these blossoms become will nourish us in the coming seasons, just as our unity and strength nourish our spirits. Let this festival be a time of joy, gratitude, and reflection on the blessings we share, and may we dance with light hearts, and feast, and cheers to our gods. And raises a glass of lapa wine, and the crowd cheers and drinks. And he says, and now, the floral arrangements, and it's a whole orchestra comes up and begins playing this upbeat concerto. And you have some time to peruse the festival grounds and see what you've maybe not seen yet.
Seraphina will go up to the cheese cart guy and be like, I think someone ate your cheese while you were gone. And just walks away.
He's like, oh, God, who? And he, like, sees a little kid, like, just kind of innocently walking by, and he grabs him by the scruff, and he's like, you eat my cheese, boy! And you shuffle away real fast back to join the group again.
Just whistles and walks away.
Eidos, you spot that.
I say nothing. Shake my head.
Killian will go over to Zata and kind of away from, just a couple steps away from everyone with him, and just say, you held yourself quite well in that battle there. And what was your name again?
Zata Stormane.
Zata, well, pleasure to meet you. Once again, my name is Killian. I just couldn't help but notice your prowess in combat.
I am a warrior of my tribe and a cleric of Erene.
Erene, I see. Well, best to watch who you maybe speak that aloud to around these parts. Some people might not be too fond of the I forget what they're called. It's
the forgotten or the unwelcome ones.
The unwelcome ones. I was gonna say like forgotten ones. The unwelcome ones. But I mean, you hold yourself it's quite the warrior. So I don't mind someone that can hold their own, no matter who they may worship.
Do people not worship her here?
Kind of a touchy subject for some. I'm sure there are those that do worship her, but might not be as let's just say widespread as maybe the worship for back home for your clan.
That is unfortunate. As her priest, I should praise her good word. She is the one that you fight. You fight for if someone has wronged you, and for glory, and for all these things. These are good things. Why would people not welcome her into their hearts? The ambition.
These things go back hundreds of centuries. So, just things that have been passed down for generations. That's all. Different regions worship different deities. That's all I can really say about that. But the unwelcome ones, well, as the name implies, in these more middle continents, they are a little bit unwelcome.
I see. That is unfortunate. She is a good goddess. For people, we worship her. She's always helped. As you can tell, I can wield her powers.
And you do so quite magnificently, I might add.
Thank you. They were a little harder to hit than most things. I'm not used to fighting giant snails. Not things I've ever actually run across myself in my times of travel. But it was a good fight. I managed to get hit. which is unfortunate. But no fight, any fight you can walk away from is a good fight.
Yes, it would just be nice if we had a little more help in the fight, if you know what I mean.
Well, I heard they were new, so it's I could take them under my wing and I could teach them the ways of fighting. Cubs, when they're first going out into the wild, they are anxious. They can be very overzealous, and it can happen. I can understand it. They are probably still milk children. I can't really tell.
So Bula sees the two other big kind of warrior fighting people like kind of chat, and she walks up behind you, throws a hand over both of y'all's shoulder, which is still like kind of gooey, so it like hits both y'all's shoulder like enough chatting, it's time for celebrating. And she like starts shoving y'all towards like an ale house.
Are we going to cook the snail? We usually, when we kill something, we try to eat them. Is the snail edible? Do you know?
It smells like my cousin Edgar. You want to cook him too?
I am not sure.
Let me tell you, you don't. You'd have a bellyache for 4 days, and that's something that not even the crab apples are going to fix. So let's go.
I will. Let me give my thanks to Ere and for helping me in fight, and give this victory over to her very quickly. So he'll just do like a small ritual thanking her, taking out her holy symbol. I don't know how that's gonna go, but he'll take out her holy symbol, do a quick prayer to her, thank her for the combat, and offering up his trophy to her and his victory, and then he'll go to the ale house.
You get a couple sidelong glances. You're able to. And Bula leads you to a closer ale house, one that like has these like large, almost barn doors that open up directly into the town square. So it's kind of like an indoor-outdoor seating situation.
As they go in, she kind of looks around and says, "Where's my goat friend?"
Right here. I was right behind you the whole time.
Oops. Let's go.
Bula's in her cups and in her meats. And you see there are like dancers performing just outside of the inn where you're enjoying another round of drinks. And the festival seems to not have really skipped a beat after the animal attack came and went. And you see, like in the middle of the square, you can watch as a flower arranging competition begins. People making all. You want to join that? You can. You can run up. Like,
do it.
Cool. As you see this happening, you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do that," and you go running over, and you see this lady with like, she has her hair braided in like a big flower pattern, like it's like these individual braids like petals, which also have flowers braided into them. And she's running it, and she says, "Hello, dear. Would you like to join the flower arranging contest?"
If I get to play with flowers, absolutely.
That's what the whole thing is about, my love. And she sits you down, and you're sitting. I mean, it's all like there's a couple halfling kids, a couple human kids. Like it's like a craft for the babies. You're like, hello. And they see you. You're sitting. You're very tall, and they're all just like, "Hi."
I mean, to be fair, just because he's 61 years old, in Sather years, that's roughly 19, so he's still a wee lad himself.
Oh, for sure. And she puts this flower basket in front of you, and she says, "Okay, children and others, you will be awarded for creativity, complexity, and aesthetic appeal of your creation. Please make the most elaborate flower arrangement you can. And begin." And she begins as she flips over a little hourglass. And you're going to go ahead and roll a sleight of hand or performance.
Ooh.
It's going to definitely be the performance.
That makes sense.
All right. So it's going to be a 17.
17. Awesome. You embarrass these kids. Like,
Oh,
you know
no.
what they're doing. And they're like still trying to like tie a little flower crown or like little bracelets. And
I
you're
want
at
to
this
like
point-
hype them up the whole time.
That's wonderfully kind of you, because a few of them were starting to get a little bit down about their things. What does your creation look like? What are you building out of these flowers?
I made like it's almost, you know, those like a picture frame, and then you like arrange the flowers to like a picture, but it's Bula.
I mean,
And
that
it makes her
performance
look
is-
significantly more delicate than she actually is. It's kind of how Marroway sees her.
Oh, that's sweet.
It really looks like her. You create this beautiful 3D flower art of Bula's beautiful visage.
Yeah, and I'm
She's-
just going to sit
she's
there and
sitting
hype up the
over-
children as they go.
And she's sitting over on the side with her ale, and she's like, "It's me! Yes!" She's still like got a little bit of the fizz of the rage like wearing off, like rage high going.
Yep. And the lady with the flower hair leans over and she says, "That is her. That's incredible. That's incredible. I think we have a winner, folks." And she pulls out a baggie of candy, the lapa fruit, all rolled in sugar, and says, "To be fair, I'm gonna go ahead and give some to all the rest of the children too." But she hands you the bag.
Announce this one as the winner. And I point to the kid next to me.
And she says, "Okay." And she says, "Your flower bracelet is incredible." And this little girl is like, "Oh." She starts crying. She's like, starts gobbling down on that candy. And her parents are like, "Oh God, no, oh God, oh," and she's never gonna go to sleep. Usher her off.
I would like to go to the bar and I would get 2 ales and I'm gonna put them down next to Seraphina and Eidos, and I'm gonna be like, "That was a good first hunt. You guys tried. You came out at the end, Seraphina. It was very good. You just had to focus and concentrate, and it was taking a hit happens. You just have to remember that your people around you are going to take care of you. But did you mean to pull the monster closer to you? Is that something that you usually do?"
Yes, it is exactly what I meant to do.
Okay.
And you saw that it worked out perfectly, aside from the end there, when I got hit, struck so horribly. But like you said, it's a first hunt.
It is. You guys did very well. And here I bought a round for you guys. And he'll just put down like ale. Congratulations on your first hunt. And then he'll also pull out little snail, the snail parts that he got, and hand you each one for your first trophies. May there be many more to come.
Seraphina's almost tearing up.
Greenie, you notice yours has it's like from the one that you burned to death. It's like actually got the burn marks on the outside of the shell, and you're like, "This is incredible."
She cherishes it. Puts it in her purse.
Can I look at the shell that he handed me and see if I can understand any of its magical qualities?
Yeah, sure. Do an Arcana or a Nature check, so you can figure out about it.
It's gonna be an Arcana. 8.
You saw the snail use magic, but like the shell, the broken piece of shell in your hand, you can't you don't feel anything really coming off of it. And as far as you can tell, you know maybe some part of the snail was magic, but you can't tell if it was the shell or the snail itself. So you really don't know.
Okay. Well, I put it in my components pouch, and I'll nod and say thank you very much, and thank you for your assistance in killing these creatures. Are we still in the same? Are we overlooking the square where that fight just happened?
Sort of, yeah. That's kind of on the opposite end of the square at this point, but you can see much of the square. You can see where the cages, you can see the tops of the cages above people's heads across the square.
Are the rest of the animals there? Still?
Yeah, it does look like the cages are all still closed and the other animals are there.
Is anybody taking care of them?
Yeah, the other carnival, essentially the carnies, are there, the animal handlers. The other ones who aren't dead are there. And at this point, there's also a couple city guard hanging out around there still, too.
I wonder if they know anything about what happened to that keeper.
Seraphina will turn to Eidos. Did you want to go closer to take a look?
Maybe after this beer.
That's a good idea, and she'll raise her glass to cheers.
To your first hunt.
At that point, you see just outside of your tavern that you're sitting on, in kind of the same area where they've now cleared out the flower arranging competition, there is a bard of musicians playing kind of on a small stage that they've set up, and there's a couple like storytellers walking around and like telling stories of the origins of the lapa fruit and other like local folklore. And things are starting to kind of, the sun is, at this point, it's like 3 or 4-ish. The sun's sort of just starting to go down in the sky. And you can see in the sky one of the other 2 heart planets is visible, kind of opposite the sun in the sky. Almost looking like a moon, but closer and bluer. And it's really a beautiful sight from sitting here in this patio and enjoying your ales together and cleaning the snail slime off of your hands. And eventually a dwarf comes wandering over your way, a dwarf dressed in the signature copper cloak of the guard, and wearing much more armor, more chainmail than the guards you had been previously fighting with. And he speaks to someone, and they point over at you, and he spots large lion in in plate armor, and comes walking over with purpose. He says, "Oi, Captain Barnard here. Nice to meet you." And shakes your hand, Zata.
Zata Stormane.
I hear we have you and your compatriots here to thank for taking care of that little zoo problem back there.
Yes, it was a great hunt. It was these children here. It's their first time. Great hunt.
Children. I hope they're not children. I don't want to get sued for putting kids in harm's way, but thank you all for your assistance. And he says, however, I'm afraid I have to ask you a few questions, as it seems you were possibly some of the first on the scene.
Of course. No problems with some questions.
He says, my lieutenant tells me that it seems the death that did occur of the animal handler was not actually caused by the animal itself, in that it appeared that the cage had been tampered with or opened on purpose. Is that correct? Did you see anything of the sort?
Marroway?
As you call Marroway, he's sitting there with Bula, like, showing off his flowers, like, just, like, full, like, idiot, just being a goober.
My companion Marroway, he was the one that was talking to the guards. I was not paying very much attention. I was collecting a trophy and praying to my god.
He says, so you weren't there when the cage was opened?
No, it was, by the time I got there, it was already open and the snails were out. I saw a man laying on the floor. I'm assuming that's the person that was dead.
So he has a piece of charcoal and he's jotting down notes as you talk to him. And he says, that little one saw something?
Yes, he was able to discern what type of injury he had. I didn't quite hear. Marroway?
Oh? Hello? Did you see it?
It is a beautiful piece of art. It is worthy of being hung. Until it
got me second place.
That is fantastic. You are first place in my heart, Marroway.
That's good. I'm first place in my heart as well.
But could you tell the captain here what you saw on the guard? The man that you saw lying on the floor?
Well, what you see happened is when he got bonked on his noggin, it wasn't the same bonking that happened to, and then I come over to to Eidos and like show the bonking that he received. I like literally grabbed
not
his
you.
face, like no personal space at all. I was like, you'll see here how the bonk happened, how big it is. That's how big their bonkers were. But if you look at the body, it was only about this big.
Honor looks at it and he says, "Oh, you should probably get that looked at. That looks rough. But you're right. This is not what the other body looked like. Interesting." He jots down and he kind of like looks at your head again and like kind of draws a crude picture of your injury in his notes. And he says, "But again, none of you saw the cage being opened or that fellow get, as you say, bonked. Yes."
No, I saw lots of bonking happening, not on him.
Okay. All right. Well, if you don't mind, if you could stay in town a few days in case we have to ask you any follow-up questions. And I'm sure the High Counselor will be eager to speak with you as well. He found it personally offensive that the festival was sidelined in this way, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has some sort of reward for you, though you didn't hear that from me.
Do you have any suggestions for lodging for tonight?
He says, well, nearby there's the Sleeping Cat. That's a popular one for travelers. There's also the Golden Owl. That's a pretty good one. I think this tavern, I mean, it's busy tonight, so I don't know if they'll have rooms, but I think they have rooms upstairs usually. Let me step outside and talk to someone. And he steps outside, and one of his lieutenants is standing there, as well as the Cool Guard. And Cool Guard's like, "Hey, girl." And you see them exchange some words, and he comes back and he says, "Considering what you did for the festival today, I'm gonna take it upon myself to say that if you would like a room at the guard barracks, it's not the most fancy place, but it'll serve, and you'll each get your own room, and we'll go ahead and do that for you free of charge tonight."
Seraphina will say, "Well, it's not quite what I'm used to, but I appreciate it and will accept."
Excellent. He jots down he pulls out another piece of paper and jots down the address of the barracks and just says, hand this, and writes a quick note on it. Hands this to whoever's on guard tonight, and they'll set you up with accommodations. And thank you again for your brave service today.
Thank you so much for your generosity.
And Cool Guard says, "You're very welcome."
Mm.
And the captain goes, "Get back outside. You're still on the clock." The Cool Guard said, "What's a clock?" And they both leave the tavern, kind of bickering.
Is that what we want to do? Go to the barracks, or do we want to go see the sleepy kitty?
I was planning to sleep outside. I usually sleep outside. I find buildings kind of strange. And small. Very small.
Once Zata goes to sleep, we're looking at the sleepy kitty.
That's quite true.
Well, I'm sure the barracks has a stable, if you prefer.
Would be dependable. I would prefer that. I don't mind. Your rooms are very small. It's a little cramped for me. So I've spent nights in stables before, and that's comfortable enough.
All right, and the bartender says, y'all made nice with the captain, eh? That's a good way to start off a visit to Tuzankin. Let me go ahead and get you around, and you just put in a good word for old Barnacle here."
Barnacle.
Yeah,
And
yep.
free drinks.
Mhm.
Which word would you like us to put in? There's lots of good words out there.
Handsome and a good citizen. Those are good words. Just tell them that about me.
Will do.
He pours you all another round of, not the top shelf stuff, but the lower shelf stuff of your preferred drinks, and a passable water with no mint leaves this time.
What's the name of this bar?
This is the buoyant banshee.
That's an amazing name.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Barnacle as the bartender, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't
Well-
even know that ants could become banshees, much less boy ones.
Well, it appears. Oh, what's the name of this town?
Tuzankin.
Tuzankin. It appears Tuzankin's all of our homes for the next few days. How should we pass the time?
Well, do we know how long this festival will be going on for?
This is a 3-day festival, so a good amount of it's not the first day is the best day, is like the actual day of the holiday, but the parties continue, much like a long Mardi Gras weekend.
Well, we'll have lots of food for the next few days. That will keep me entertained, and probably Bula too.
Might
Food, drink, sleep. The
Might-
3 most important things.
might be best to check in with the captain of the guard or whoever might have that reward for us. We are going to need coin if we're wanting to buy food and drink.
It's true. I'm not entirely destitute at this point, but 3 days at a festival might do it in for me. Or do me in, rather. But if we're here specifically for this incident, what say we talk to the other people helping with these animals and see if they saw anything? Maybe we can expedite this investigation.
Well, might not
What
be a
time of
bad
day?
idea.
What'd you say, Marroway?
What time of day is it?
It's like 4 p.m. ish. Not quite dinner time yet, but the sun's starting to set. Do you want to walk over to the animal cages?
I will. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. You go over, and the animal handlers are kind of talking amongst themselves, but also keeping a much closer eye on the crowd and on. They're like obviously keeping hands on the cage keys on their belts. And there's a couple city guards still standing around, just kind of keeping the peace, making sure everything stays above board.
Okay.
And one of the guards was one of the people that were there fighting with you, trying to fight with you. And she recognizes you and says, "Hey there,
Not the
loves."
cool guard.
Not the cool one.
Seraphina's disappointed.
She says, "Hey there, loves. Thank you for what you did earlier. That was very helpful. Appreciate you."
Of course, we couldn't stand idly by while those beasts threatened the good people of this festival. It was the least we could do.
Hmm.
Certainly the least I could do. I didn't really do much, it felt.
Tuzankin can always use more people with that mindset, let me tell you. My job would be much easier if that was the case. Regardless, we appreciate you, and make sure you speak to the upper honchos to see what they'll do for you. And now that you have some good favor in the city, that goes a long way.
Would we find them in the same place that the barracks are at?
The captain might stop in. He usually stops in once or twice a day to ensure everybody's where they're supposed to be. If you hang around there long enough, you'll catch him. Or that you see that big old house up there? That's the head honcho's house. That's the counselor's house. That's Tuzank Hall. So if you need to speak to the old man himself, that's where you'll go.
Oh, we should do that. That looks like a beautiful home.
It looks
It
like
is.
a rich home.
It is. It's almost more. It's like a city hall and a home and like servants' quarters. It's all the above in like a big walled, almost like compound.
Now, let me ask you a question. These animal handlers, are there other animals there that were there at the time of the attack?
One of the animal handlers says, yeah, I think all the animals, they're all still in their cages, right? And they do a head count. And they're like, yeah, all the animals have been in their cages the whole time.
And now, are you all going to be here tomorrow?
Well, if the city will allow us to stay, yeah, but it'll be kind of hard to pull them back out of the city fast, so
I'll
hopefully.
have a word with them and try to get them to stay, because tomorrow I could come back and I could talk to the animals. I'm sure they saw a lot more than what everyone else did.
You can talk to this one can talk to animals. That'd be very helpful, actually. Thank you. Please do that. We'll stay. We'll talk. If they tell us to leave, we'll let them know that we're investigating. Come
That
back
sounds
tomorrow.
Excellent.
Please.
I would like to hear what they have to say.
They're all like obviously very relieved because they're like, what the fuck are we gonna tell like our boss? Like they were all like, what do we do? So you're taking charge, and they all are very clearly happy about it.
And while we wait for the animals' reports, what about you? Where were you when this snails handler went down?
You talking to the animal handler or the guard now?
Animal handler.
Okay. He says, well, I was over. I'm in charge of, the crab. I'm in charge of that one, so I was over there. But I all I saw was the cage swinging open. Unfortunately,
Is the crab very far away?
it's like 3 cages down.
What's the next cage?
There's the order of them. There's the direwolf cage, the open cage, one with a giant monkey of some sort, the one with the giant crab, and then one with an alligator.
Is the monkey handler around?
Yep, he's seen it in front of that cage. He's the
Okay.
closest one. He says, sorry, brother, I didn't see it either. I was actually talking to the monkey.
You can talk to animals too?
He says, no, but I like to talk to him because he's kind of freaks me out, and I feel like maybe if I talk to him, he won't kill me if he ever gets out, and obviously that was a good choice.
Can I make an insight check on the monkey as he's saying this?
Yeah, for sure.
Big modifier. Yes. It's going to only be a 15.
A 15. The monkey looks like a giant monkey. And it's like scratching its butt.
Does it look like it wants to kill him?
A little bit.
Excellent. Good information.
I'll look over at the direwolf handler and say, and you? Were you also talking to your animal and didn't see your coworker killed?
He gestures you over to a pavilion nearby to kind of get away from listening ears. He says, look, I don't wanna get in trouble with anybody, but it was one of them blue cloak knights. I saw them setting up for the parade. They were in the parade. I didn't see their face. They were still wearing their helmet. But I watched them come over and just kind of body my coworker. And next thing I knew, those snails were coming out and I was gone.
Mm-hmm. No defining characteristics, just a all-encompassing blue coat. You didn't see anything?
I don't know, blue cloak, silver armor. Had one of those helmets with like the horsehair on top, in like a silver color. That's unfortunately he was still wearing his helmet. He just looked like one of the knights. They all kind of look the same with the helmets on. He was tall, about your height maybe, a little taller.
Interesting. And where did he go after he did it?
He ran off with the crowd.
Oh. And what did you do when he did it?
I ran off with the crowd. Man, I don't get paid very much. I wasn't gonna stick around to see what was happening next.
Hey, I understand. And Eidos super doesn't. He's never had to work a day in his life.
Okay, so pretty pissy.
What was your name?
It's Kobe.
Toby?
Kobe. Kobee.
Kobe. Interesting. Well, thank you for your help, Kobe.
Yeah, just don't maybe leave my name out if you talk to my boss.
Certainly
I didn't see
will.
anything, I don't want to get in trouble with those knight guys. They're all too rich for my blood. And he goes back to the front of his cage.
I'll trade my silence for your information. Thank you.
He nods. Seraphina, as this is all happening and you're kind of wandering and looking at the animals in the cages, there's a pedestal set up kind of in the center of the cages, with almost like a bird cage structure on top of it, and inside the bird cage is a little pedestal with a large egg in it. Almost looks like like opalescent in the way, but like as you're looking at it, the colors of it like slowly shift and change. It's like very lightly colored, so it almost looks white, but you can see occasionally like a streak of blue, and then a stripe of red, and then a stripe of green. Just kind of like undulates through the scales of this like large eggshell, and it catches your eye immediately.
So yeah, she's looking closely, and she'll look around to make sure no one else is looking at her while she's clocking this.
Yeah,
really
not so much.
beautiful
There's still
egg.
like a good amount of people like cleaning up and looking at like the dead snail body carcasses, and no one's really looking your way.
Is the egg locked in the cage?
No, it looks like the cage was just kind of placed on top of it to keep people from touching, but it's not like locked or anything. It doesn't even have a bottom. It's literally just like a bottomless little, like a cover.
Is anybody like watching this egg? Like, is anybody like protecting the egg? Or is it just
there's not
there?
one particular, no, since it's just an egg, it's really just kind of on display. It's not really being actively guarded.
Okay. She will nonchalantly look around. I think she's gonna try to cast Unseen Servant.
Okay.
And then she will walk away and have her servant try to open up the glass and grab the egg.
Okay, easily enough done. Roll. I'm trying to think of if I need you to roll, because the unseen servant is totally invisible.
Yes.
So really, it just is about timing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have you roll stealth with advantage, or like a sleight of hand with advantage,
Okay.
just to like set the timing so like no one actually sees it go up and down.
14.
That'll do it. So you wait for a moment and you give it the silent command, like do it now, and it lifts up the cage, swipes the egg, sets the cage back down, and scurries over to you. You just kind of see the egg floating through the air over towards you.
I'm gonna have it like plop it in my purse. I'm just gonna like put my multitudes of skirts over it
Easily
and just
enough
like whistle and walk away.
done. Easily enough done. Eidos, were you in the vicinity? Did you catch her doing this?
I was standing next to the cages, so
Okay, so you're
Was that
kind of in
nearby?
the vicinity. You're not really watching her.
Passive perception of 20. I clocked that.
You sure do.
Like,
Mind my business.
Does Seraphina know that Zata knows?
oh yeah, he's not gonna hide it. He's just like, just gonna be looking at
He's just yeah. When he looks over, she's just like. "Hmm?"
Incredible. Yeah, you now have large scaled egg.
Nice.
Put that in your inventory. It's like your purse is now like very bulbous. It's lucky you have so many skirts that you just have it tucked under, and it just kind
Yeah.
of looks like you're wearing a hoop skirt or like a.
Yeah.
Zata just
He's like
opens his
leaning
backpack.
over.
Yeah, Zata just
On
opens
one
like his backpack and like leans over and you're like,
Yeah. It feels like warm to the touch though, as you're like putting it in there. It feels like very warm and very much alive. And with that, anything else you all want to investigate over here?
Can Killian talk to one of the guards?
Mm-hmm.
Killian would ask, I'm not from around this region. Is this Festival of Flowers, is this a yearly celebration?
She says, yes, it is. Yes, it's every first rainfall. It's kind of like a new year. You know, the beginning of rainfall is when we really consider the new year to begin, and then we have weeks of celebrations because people on the middle continent like to party, you know what I'm saying? Pain in my ass, but pays the bills, gets us some hours.
And has anything like this commotion with this released animal ever happened before?
I don't think. She looks at like her dogs and she's like, not since I've been here. It's usually, you know, drunkards falling on the street and the occasional lighthearted brawl, but nothing like this has happened before. Definitely not.
And was the guard informed to watch out for anyone specifically? Would there be any merit in disrupting the celebration like this for anyone?
She thinks for a minute and she says, I mean, not that I can think of, unless, like, no, I don't know. It was a chaotic thing to do, right? Like, I can't describe why someone would want to do it. I can't think of a rhyme or reason for it.
I wonder if maybe even just whatever happened here was a distraction for something else.
She says, do you mind if I bring that idea to my captain? That makes a weird amount of sense.
Well, chaos of multiple people running away, screaming, it's definitely a large distraction for some nefarious plot.
You may be onto something there. I'm gonna talk to Captain Bonard about that. That's astute. You'd be a good city guard. You ever thought about putting on a cloak?
Well, I wear a different kind of cloak, and Killian will just kind of like present like the symbol of Oasis on the back of his cloak.
All right, I see. You are on another level, my friend. I know that symbol anywhere, and glad to have you in our city when shit went sideways.
Yes, it seemed fate brought me here for some reason. Maybe this is just the start of that reason.
The gods are good. The gods are good. Anyway, I wish I could tell you more. But boy, it was a pleasure to meet you. I haven't met one of your kind before, but I've heard all kinds of stories.
Well, hopefully they were good stories. And we'll just kind of bid this guard adieu and just kind of go back with everyone else.
Seeing Killian talk to the guard, Eidos will walk over and kind of divulge everything that this animal handler told him about the blue-cloaked knight balking this dude.
And do we know who the blue cloaks are at all? Like,
You would have seen them pass in the parade. The city guard wear copper cloaks, and then just like general, they're like King's Guard, but they're like council guards. Because Lena Mirna is run by a counselor from every city, which used to be their own city-states. And now they're kind of this one large republic. So, like, essentially the National Guard, sort of, wear the light blue cloaks of Lena Mirna. Especially the knights would be wearing those cloaks.
And that's pretty common knowledge, I guess, for
yeah,
people.
for sure. Yep. Like the FBI showing up.
This one goes straight to the top.
Well, if that animal handler's words can be trusted, well, I wonder if even talking to the old parts is a good idea.
Talking to the who?
The
Olpart,
Olpart.
the high counselor. He's the counselor of the city.
Well, it would be of interest to me to see what he has to say about it. I think that it would be in our best interest and in the interest of this investigation, which we now find ourselves taking on, if we keep the blue-cloaked figure to ourselves and see what he has to say about it, at least until it's time to show our cards.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Maybe keep that a little bit close to the chest for now.
Indeed.
And also, with the angle that the animals that are at, when I get to talk to them, they might have got the clearer view of his face. Maybe we could get a couple more defining features.
It's true. Hopefully this monkey has some things to say. Why don't you talk to the monkey now?
Well, you see, my brain only holds a certain amount of magic, and it doesn't hold everything, so I might just... It's gonna take me a minute to remember how to do it. It's been a long time.
I understand. I feel similarly exhausted myself. I don't think I can expel much magic for the rest of the day either. At least not until one long rest.
The little goat boy needs to sleep. And Bula just like starts to like pet his head.
And everyone would notice that his eyes are like just super puffy red.
She just like knows this when he gets exhausted like this, he's useless. And so she's trying to like coax him to sleep.
I've also expended most of my divine magics for today.
Well,
Can't cast any more
Okay.
spells.
Well, maybe it would be in our best interest to go get some rest at the barracks, save a little coin, and see if we can get any more information there, or at least get some, shut-eye.
Maybe the cool guard will be there. Seraphina says nonchalantly.
Eidos rolls his eyes. So, yeah.
Nobody cares.
Maybe you could get his name too instead of calling him Cool Guard.
Snail's not
Marroway
cool
looks up
guard?
at Marroway looks up at Bula. Is this what they call the flirting?
And she just says, "Don't worry about it," and starts petting his head.
Are they in love?
No.
No. Oh,
No.
I must have misread the whole situation then.
Mm.
All right. With that, you all head to the barracks then. You take your ales to go. You steal another round of cups from yet another
He
time.
just takes it and just goes.
Like special edition festival cups.
Yeah.
You can fill them
They're
up at any bar.
limited. They're limited.
Yeah, the 1697 one. And you head to the guard barracks, which are relatively empty tonight, seeing as how it's festival day and all the guards are at their posts throughout the city. There's a couple people taking their time off. But the guard on duty at the gate allows you in and reads the note from Captain Bonnard and says, okay, right this way, and shows you to 6 rooms, all of which are very plainly appointed, like bed, mattress, 1 set of dressers, 1 like hanging like bar to hang your clothes. It says, if you need, there's a washroom just around the corner there, and you are safe in the walls of the barracks tonight. And it leaves you to it.
Marroway is gonna go into the same room with Bula.
Bula's not real comfortable with being separated from Marroway where she can't see him.
And he's gonna get into her backpack and pull out the little stuffed bear named Sir Lavender. And he's gonna crawl underneath the bed and almost use the blankets like a child would build a fort to hide himself. And then
Love
he's
it.
just gonna kind of cuddle up with his little bear.
Love it.
Bula
Is that
curls
a-
up on the bed, and it kind of sinks down just a little bit and makes it an even tighter squish for Marroway.
Perfect.
But she dangles one hand off the mattress so she can kind of know he's there.
Aww.
That's cute.
Zata will just he'll look at the bed, he'll just kind of like and then he'll just like unroll his bedroll, and then he'll take off his armor, and he'll just probably be just like in a loincloth, and he'll just go to the washroom to go wash up, get slime off of him, and he'll just hang out like that. Yeah, just clean himself up, clean his wound, and then he'll probably just spend the rest of his night just running around with his loincloth. That's all he'll do. What?
Nice. All right. And with that, you all find your beds to be of relative comfort enough for a city guardsman. And we will call that the end of session 1.
Yay!
Yay! What a dream.